Hello and welcome to Ask the Expert, an award-winning daily series that starts at 8:30 in the morning till 9 o'clock to help small businesses like you. Now, if you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments on the live feed. Today is all about looking good on camera. So if you want to ask questions about remote meetings, go ahead. Now, if you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook, and accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. And during the live session today, we're going to be running a poll. And today's poll is all about the kind of meetings that you are doing to grow your business. Are they remote? Are they in person? How are they going? Do engage with that poll. And at the end, I'm going to be revealing the results. So today, we're talking about looking good, sounding good, and feeling good on camera, because guess what? We are in the usual or the new normal, whatever you want to call it, the next normal, some of my clients call it. And whether you like it or not, cameras are here to stay. We're doing less travel. We're on camera all the time, whether it's Zoom, Teams, Google Meetups, whatever platform you use. You are probably broadcasting a lot more than ever before. Now, I used to be a BBC producer. I spent most of my career behind the scenes helping people like Boris Johnson, Theresa May. I've even interviewed Hollywood stars in the past, Madonna and George Clooney. So you can ask me questions about them if you want. But the main reason my expertise can help your business is because my expertise is in the art of broadcasting. And now we're working in this remote world. You are a broadcaster. Did you know that? You have to be a pro. You have to look good, you have to sound good, and you have to feel good, and you have to pitch. You have to pitch your business. You have to persuade people. You do better business when you show up on camera looking relatively professional. But here's the good news. You really can do it. Because a little bit about my background, I was really afraid. I was afraid to be in front of the camera myself for many years. Although I've been the head of programs for a TV channel in the past, I've been a senior producer at the BBC. I was always very comfortable behind the camera, getting everyone else to be brilliant. When it came to me, I would choke. I would feel embarrassed. I hate watching myself. Don't you hate watching yourself? It's weird, isn't it? I've got loads of tips on that. Over the past year, I've actually realized I've spoken to about 20,000 people around the world in this remote world. And even a year ago, in the last year, at the beginning, I didn't feel that confident on camera. So I really do know that the tips that I've got today, and I've got probably 10,000 tips, you can ask me anything about how to set yourself up, how to have the confidence, how to engage with your audience. How can you have a better voice? What sort of mic should you use? What sort of background should you use? Please get your questions in. I'd love to hear from you today. The other thing we're going to be doing is I'm going to be giving away a book. My book, Goodbye Glossophobia, Banish Your Fear of Public Speaking, is all about exactly that. Public speaking. I've got the audio versions, and I'm really happy to offer you a free copy of the audio version if you email me, and I'll give you the details of that in a moment. And the reason I wrote the book is because I was afraid to speak in front of an audience. I remember the first time I had to speak at this big festival. It was a television festival, and I forgot my words. I sweated. I was shaking. I felt uncomfortable. I didn't like the sensation of all the eyes on me. That's normal. 75% of the population feel like that. But now we've got cameras involved with our meetings, with our daily life. It's a bit like having all the eyes on me again. The camera's looking at me. The camera is there. It's like, it's spying on you. And I call it sometimes a torch into your inner confidence. There's something about having a camera that makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable. And even if you're used to it now, because we've been doing these meetings now for quite a while, I can give you some really good tips just to polish you up a bit, to give you a couple of really simple, easy to adopt broadcasting tips, just to make you look like you own your little square. Because let's face it, you're turning up now in this little square, and everything that you do in that little square and everything that you see in the little square, well, it's a rectangle, isn't it? It is a message. So what message are you giving your clients and your customers? What message are you giving your board meetings? How do you look? How are you setting yourself up? It's not you don't have to spend lots of money on this if you want to look good. One of my clients recently told me that she works in the financial services industry, and she was asking me advice. What camera shall I get? By the way, I have a Logitech camera. More on that later. Please ask away if you've got questions about kit or confidence. Please get your questions in. I'll be answering them any moment now. But a really good client of mine asked me about, what camera should I use? How should I look? And so I was giving her advice. Set yourself up like this. Wear a splash of color. Makeup's actually really good on camera, by the way. You can ask me specifically about that later in the show if you want. So she was setting herself up, and she turned up at one of her meetings, and one of her colleagues said, "Oh, you look good. Put some lipstick on, and you look good. Oh, that's a bit vain." And I thought, that song, "You're So Vain." Are you vain? Are you vain if you want to look reasonably professional in your square? I don't think you are. But please tell me if you, ask questions. Do you think it's vain to look good and look professional and sound good on camera? You are now doing business on camera. You're doing it in remote meetings and lots of different combinations now of group meetings with a camera, one-to-ones with a camera. Some people are audio only on the phone, or they're dialing in. There's no picture. How can you best do business in this broadcasting environment? That's what we're talking about today. And as you know, I wasn't that confident myself. And that is why I am perfectly placed to help you with your meetings. So quite often people ask me, but what do I do if I'm looking at the camera and I'm looking good on camera? How do I engage with my audience? I've got a few tips I'm going to be sharing with you today. I think the most common question people ask me, though, because I'm from a broadcasting background and I've helped people to ooze charisma and confidence on camera, one of the most common issues is, where do I look? Because I want to look at my audience. I want to give them eye contact. So giving your audience eye contact, this is the key. This is the first tip of the day. Looking at the screen like this isn't giving your audience eye contact. This is eye contact. Quite simply, it's about getting comfortable looking into the camera. So I often tell, it's in the book as well, and if you get the audiobook, you'll hear it. I often tell the story of a very famous television presenter called Cilla Black. And if you've heard me speak before, I share this story, but it's such a great story for us to remind ourselves about the relationship that we need to have with our camera. So Cilla Black used to call her camera on ITV Bobby, after her late great husband. And she would treat her camera like, "Bobby, I love you. Come here, camera. Come here, Bobby." And she had this relationship with her camera that was intimate. She loved her camera, and she called her camera by the love of her life. So my question to you is, what could you call your camera? What could you call your lens? I've had quite a few Lenny the lenses before. Quite a few people like calling their camera something like biscuits, beer, and Brad Pitt. But maybe you've got another name that you could share with me today. Okay, so we are going to be answering your questions throughout. But before we answer your questions, I'm going to give you the chance to win my audiobook. Now, all you've got to do is email me, esther@estherstanhope.com, and then you can win the audio version of this. I'm actually giving away, if you request it today, you will get one. Everyone's a winner today, because the audiobook really can help you with your confidence, how to start, how to stop, how to make an impact early doors with your clients and with your customers, how to have more personal impact and presence and charisma, how to tell stories. That's what I'm going to be sharing with you with the audiobook. So that's if you email me, esther@estherstanhope.com. Okay, I'm going to start firing off with the questions yet. So we've got Jay on Twitter. This is a direct message on Twitter. When I get passionate about the topic I'm talking about, how I can ramble on a bit. I know how you feel, Jay. I know how you feel. Any advice on how to keep myself to the point? Yes, that's a really good question. Sometimes I feel some of my clients that are more extrovert and like to talk off the cuff, don't like to have a script. That's fine. Passion is great. What I would suggest when you're talking about your business, though, is keep your stories and your content in small chunks. So is it a general overview of the business? Make sure that you kind of know what point you're going to make, and then keep it in a small chunk, and make sure you then leave room for the person who you're talking to then ask another question, or end your little passionate, beautiful, your little piece. End it with maybe a question. Let your audience in. Make sure there are gaps, Jay, because if it's just a big stream about, oh, we do this and we do that and we help these people and we're offering this and we're special, there's too much. So less is more. Do put your passion in there, though. Don't dumb down your passion, but just keep it shorter and then throw it back to the audience. Sarah on Facebook Messenger. I think I've got the hang of video calls now, although I'm always very conscious that my background is just a plain wall. It's a bit boring. Don't worry, Sarah. We can sort that out for you. Any advice on what you should and shouldn't have behind you while you're on camera? Okay, so Sarah, good news. At the moment, I'm using my banner just because I use that for my book launch, and I use that when I'm talking about my book, and it's actually my own. My lovely designer Patrick designed it to look a bit like the Liechtenstein painting, and I actually just really like the image, so I've been using that. But I've got a tiny space here. I've got a white background, which is a 10-pound sheet. It's literally a white sheet hanging from my ceiling. Okay. A really good background can just be some nice lights with some filters in. I'm not going to move my LED lights and show you because I won't be able to put them back in the right place. But if you get some relatively cost efficient small LED lights, you can get them on Amazon. Other outlets are available. They tend to have filters in them. They tend to give you like 8 filters with purple, blue, red. So actually just having a white background, get a couple of little up lights or side lights with filters and just put some colors. So you've just got a slight color behind you to give it a bit of texture. I would suggest you could think about a plant, think about a picture, think about even just a print of a picture. Is that it looks quite good on camera to have a picture, even if it's not a really expensive, beautiful painting. Have a play around, Sarah. You only need 170 centimeters square. That's my studio here. It's 170 centimeters square. It's tiny. So have a play around and enjoy. Matt on Instagram, direct message. I'm usually a quiet person face to face, but usually it's easier to find moments to talk. So face to face, it's easier, right? I'm finding it harder now that we're digital. Any advice about how to speak up in a busy video meeting? Okay, Matty on Instagram, face to face, completely different, isn't it? In the digital world, you've got a few people chiming in, very difficult. Couple of tips there. First of all, Matty, if it's possible to work out what the rules of that meeting are, because every meeting has its own rules. Is there a show of hands? Is there a chat function? If you don't know, and you don't know how to chime in, it's a really good strategy from now on to make sure that you chat to the host of the meeting and say, I've got a couple of points that I'd really like to make. Shall I put my hand up? How shall I let you know when I want to make my point? Try and get an ally, the host or the chair or the MC of that meeting. You need them to be your ally so they know to come to you if you raise your hand digitally or raise your hand physically if you're in shot. Another really good tip about chiming in, again, depending on if you know the people, how many people there are. If you want to pass to somebody or make a comment, use their name. So if we were in a meeting together, I could say, Matty, and you can finish your sentence and go, yes, Esther. And then I can ask you a question. Or you could even suggest to the host, if I need to speak, can I just say your name? So you could, if I was speaking, you could say, Esther. So I finish my sentence and say, yes, Matty. Using people's names makes it cleaner. Believe you me, I have spoken at many events and I've spoken over people because I might speak too much. I've also found it difficult to interject. And that I found is the most effective way. But you kind of need to set those rules, but it's a really good habit to get into. Jane on Twitter, direct message. You mentioned some famous faces, from politicians to pop stars. Oh, yes, I have. Would you say there's a common mistake or nervous tick they all struggle with when on camera or being interviewed? The famous faces. So it's, what's really interesting when you actually meet somebody in real life. So I've interviewed Lenny Kravitz. He was one of my first ever interviewees, the rock star. And if you look on my blog, estherstanhope.com blog, if you just Google it, I'm sure it will come up. I interviewed him and he turned up without a t-shirt on with a bare chest. And he's like, really, he's out there. And he knows he's really comfortable in his own skin. And he really hasn't got a problem in front of people because he's a rock star. Now, Lenny Kravitz is a funny story, and I'm not going to go into it now. I'm going to get you to go to my blog to read it. But everyone that you meet in real life is slightly smaller. Sometimes they can be very shy. So here's an example of somebody who's really comfortable in his own skin. He was like, bring it on. Whereas somebody like Madonna, I mean, she really was not like Madonna on stage in real life. Tiny. I mean, most people are really tiny when you meet them in real life. John Bon Jovi, tiny, quiet, shy, slightly awkward. So quite a lot of the celebrities or the people that you think are really big personalities, quite often they are, when you meet them in face-to-face, they're quite small, quite shy, quite introvert, probably because they don't like press interviews, fair enough. And then others are kind of like some people behind the scenes, like Shane Ritchie, for example. You might have seen him on I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. He is out there. In real life, he's even more Shane Ritchie-ish. He's kind of, whoa, really loud, quite rude in a funny way. So I would say that a lot of the time, it's the what you see on camera, it depends what kind of craft they are. When you see on camera people really showing off sometimes, in real life, they might be really quiet, but they know how to turn it on. But that is their job. So their job is almost to perform, isn't it? I think when it comes to business, it's about understanding some of the tips when it comes to being live on air and turning that live version of yourself on. And that's why some of these tips, so for example, looking at the camera, that's just a practical tip. Another really practical tip about turning yourself on that live mode, smiling. Smile at the camera. How easy is that tip? Smile at the camera. Just this will help you look better, sound better, and be more engaging immediately. The other immediate change that you could do today is turn on more lights. Just buy lights. Top lights, steal them from the bedroom. Little lamps, LED lights from IKEA, flashy LED lights where you've got, you can turn it up and maybe you spend a bit more money on a couple of extra lights. Ring lights, all good. Any lights. Turn on more lights. Probably, I reckon, at least 6 lights. Just get loads of lights, get some adapter plugs, whatever you need. It will make you look better immediately. Quick win. You will look famous. Turn on those lights. Okay, let's have a look. At the start, from Zoe. Thanks, Zoe. From the start of lockdown, I was doing my full morning routine. Now I have my time back. I think perhaps it's best to meet in the middle. Is it silly to have pajama bottoms with a smart top and a quick, simple makeup routine? I mean, isn't it funny? Because now, are we working from home or are we living at work? I've actually got my yoga pants on, from the waist down. I will be honest with you. I'm wearing socks this morning. Socks. I didn't put my shoes on because I haven't been out of the house. Normally I do go out of the house and I tend to wear running shoes or trainers. So I have actually got my yoga pants on. from the waist down. I don't normally wear full suited and booted outfit because I don't have to, because if you're only seeing this much of you, why should you? I would say, though, that you do need to get yourself camera ready. What does that mean? Yes, hair, wardrobe, makeup, jacket, whatever it takes to look professional on camera. It takes 5 seconds to put a jacket on. It takes 5 seconds to quickly do your lips or powder. Men and women, go for it. If you don't want to have that shine, or you want to just cover up some blemishes, why not put a bit of concealer on or some powder? You look better if you finish yourself off for the camera, i.e. bit of powder, maybe some makeup. Just think about your hair. Don't look too tousled if that's not your look. Just have a think about it. And I would say you definitely want to have a bit of a routine before you turn your camera on, i.e. you definitely want to drink water for your voice, definitely a quick vocal warm-up. So even a little tongue twister like Irish wristwatch. Can you say that? Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch. I can't even say it. Irish wristwatch. Irish wristwatch. Or red lorry, yellow lorry. Red lorry, yellow lorry. And before this morning, I mean, I was driving the QuickBooks team mad because I was going, la, 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 la. I was just making a noise and getting my vocal cords ready. Because if you don't get your vocal cords ready, the danger is if you've got a big pitch in the morning and you say, morning, you don't want a kind of morning voice. You want to be at the top of your game. So when you turn that camera on, why not be good? It takes you 2 minutes to get ready and be camera ready and look good and sound good. So why not? Thank you very much for your questions, by the way. These are brilliant. Benji on Instagram. Hi, Benji. I've quite a self-deprecating sense of humor, but I know some people can be put off by it. Oh, dear, Benji. But it's good to have a sense of humor, Benji. Honestly, don't worry about having a sense of humor. It's got to be good, right? How can I be myself, but still add a bit of humor when presenting? Okay, Benji, it's really important to be a human being. Humor is good. However, depending on your audience, it's got to be the right humor. I call it, and if you get my audiobook, which you can request, remember, I'll remind you of my email at the end. If you get my audiobook, I have a chapter in it, and it's called AAH, Audience Appropriate Humor. Okay, audience appropriate humor. I would be careful of self-deprecating humor. Also, in this environment, you can't quite gauge the audience, can you? So unless you know your audience very, very well, if you start making fun of yourself, it could look as if you're saying, I'm a bit rubbish. So you've got to be careful about self-deprecating stuff. It's very different if it was George Clooney, for example. And this, when I as in the beginning of my career, when I was interviewing celebrities, George Clooney can be self-deprecating, and you will never think, oh, he's so rubbish, because he's already got that status. If you're very, very high in status, i.e., you are the CEO with your suit on, self-deprecating humor kind of works, because what you're doing there is you're giving the message to your audience, I'm a human being, I'm like you. However, if you're not up here owning your space, looking effortlessly confident, you've got to be careful that you're not kind of going, I'm a bit rubbish, self-deprecating. It might just lower your status. Now, what do I mean by status? Status is like, are you down here? Are you owning are you a leader? Are you a respected, charismatic leader with lots of executive presence? If you are, you've got high status. If you use self-deprecating humor, it could just lower your status, lower your credibility, and lower your leadership qualities. So just be careful of that. However, humor is so good. What you really want is a high status with humor. So keep the humor in. Self-deprecating, I would suggest, don't do it. Don't make fun of yourself. Find humor in the situation. Find humor, but not at your own expense. Thank you very much, Benji. That's a really good question, by the way. Selena, hello, Selena on Facebook Messenger. Disaster strikes. Internet connection failed. I know how you feel, Selena. I know, it's so awful. If you're hosting a conference and lots of people and people start breaking up, what's the best way to manage it smoothly without rudely cutting someone off? Okay, tech fails. It happens. How many times in a meeting do you say, "You're on mute. You're on mute. Hello, you're on mute. I can't hear you. You're on mute." How many times you're in the middle of a meeting or you're doing a conference and it's like, frozen. So annoying, isn't it? So here's the main thing. We now live with tech fails, okay? On a daily basis, we live with tech fails. Don't worry and let it completely ruin your day. Don't let it ruin your life. It happens, okay? Have a couple of safety nets. So for example, at a conference, if you are, if you need to somebody to dial out and dial in again, just politely say, "Oh, we can't hear you," but always be generous. Don't cut people off. That's, that is rude. But just say if you're Jessica, if Jessica and Jessica's freezing and you can't hear her, "Jessica, we can't quite hear you. If you need to log off and log back in again, we'll come back to you in a couple of minutes," and just move on. "Jessica, we can't quite hear you. We've got a bit of a tech issue," and make it out it's a tech issue. It's not her. It's the tech issue. "Having a bit of a tech issue here, Jessica. So if you log out and log back in, we'll catch up with you in a couple of minutes." Just give it a few seconds of fail. Maybe try again. If it's a fail again, just move on politely with a smile on your face and blame it on the tech gremlins in this world, because that's what happens. So Zach on Facebook Messenger, if two people start getting a bit defensive or short with each other in a meeting, what can you do to bring the call back on track and disperse the tension? Zach, thanks very much for that message. So Zach on Facebook, what you're saying there is, difficult conversation, conflict. So you got conflict, defensive in a meeting, and you're in the virtual world and there you are on camera. Ugh. Okay. What I would say there is, it's like in real life. Try and get that conversation out of that meeting immediately. Shut it down immediately. Say, "I tell you what, this is definitely something we need to explore further. Absolutely, you are so right. What we'll do is we'll schedule a separate meeting." So after the meeting or when everyone else has tuned out, if you stay on the call afterwards, let's keep this discussion going. Avoid conflict in the middle of a meeting. That's not the place to have a conflict. Try and just move it out of the way and get as little people involved in that discussion as possible, 2 or 3 max. Because if you've got 6 or 7 or 8 people, you can't resolve a conflict with 6 or 7 or 8 people. So just move it to another time if you can, and that is your objective. Don't let it run at all because it will ruin the meeting. Thank you, Zach. Okay, Rafi on Instagram, direct messenger. Hosting a meeting, and if you have to share your screen, sometimes you can't see everyone else on the call. What's the best way to read the room and make sure you're still picking on the questions when it's over video? So when you're hosting a meeting, yes, you can't read the room. I mean, this is the thing. This is the compromise. When you are online, you can't read the room. So you're looking at the camera, you can't actually see the people very well. So what you've got to do is you've got to assume that you've got to carry on and you've got to just keep going, looking at the camera, because that's where you're getting the eye contact. You're going to have to guess about reading the room a little bit, share your screen. A really good tip there, though, is get your audience to use the chat function or run a poll, something where you get the audience to act and do something and they're giving back to you. Okay, we might have time for one more very quick question, but let me talk about the poll, because we did launch a poll at the beginning of this session, and we asked you, what style of meetings are you mainly doing these days? Are you doing in-person meetings? Are you doing video call meetings? Or are you doing a hybrid meetings, which are a mix of both, some in person, some on video? And 100% are doing hybrid meetings. So really interesting. My big advice for hybrid meetings, which is a bit of both, some people there, look and smile at the camera. Treat the camera like a loved one. Treat the camera, respect the camera, share with the camera. And if you've got a whole room of people here, get them to talk to the camera. Do not ignore the camera. That is my biggest tip for hybrid meetings. Thank you so much for joining me. If you do want my audiobook, you can email me, esther@estherstanhope.com. My name is spelled ESTHER, esther@estherstanhope.com. I'll be really happy to share that with you. And thank you so much for joining me. I mean, it's been such a great morning. I love your questions. Absolutely brilliant. Coming up on Ask the Expert on Monday is Eva Mrazikova. And she's talking about all things business and cloud-based. She's an accountant from Iris Software Group, and she's got over 12 years experience of payroll and VAT compliance. So that's a really good topic. Ask her about anything to do with money and VAT. There's a reminder, if you need any more advice, you can join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook, and accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you soon. Eyes and teeth.